right, and we are live with Mike and Lee-Ann Nicholson. It's another edition of the Investing Across Border show. So thank you everybody for being here. Um, so today we have a very special guest. Lauren might come as well. Whenever she comes, she'll join us. And we're here to talk to you guys about how to successfully invest in US real estate and create unique theme short-term rentals. But before we get started, I'd love for Mike and Lee-Ann to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves so we can get started this conversation.
Yeah. So Mike and Lee-Ann Nicholson, we're a husband and wife team in many things. We're mortgage agents. We're real estate investors in Canada and the U.S. And we love helping clients and whether it be a mortgage client or a coaching client to learn about real estate investing. So we've been in the U.S. for about 2 years now, and our most recent venture would have been April.
So almost a year now.
Almost a year with our second, direction and going with short-term rentals in Orlando, Florida.
That's awesome. So, is there a way we can expand a little bit about what does that mean? Like, I think we talked before we went live about theme short-term rentals. I don't think people kind of like know what that is. So maybe we can get started with that, and then you can let us know kind of like how you did it and some of the things that people have to look out for.
So theming is, like you said before we talked, it's more than just putting a poster on a wall or some wallpaper on a wall. Theming is going really all out and making that room something amazing. So in our house, we chose the theme of superheroes. And we kind of went out to our friends and family and on Facebook and Instagram and said, hey, if you could go to a home in Orlando, what theme would you want in that home? And it kind of was over, a lot of people said superhero. So we decided to go on that premise of we're going to do superheroes. So let's see.
Yeah, how we got on to theming houses is we looked at the opportunity of a short-term rental. All of our other portfolio is long-term. Short-term rentals can provide you a great solid stream of income and also allows you to use it, which is a nice bonus. But when you look at different areas, some areas I don't say they're flooded with homes, but especially in Orlando, in that area, there's a lot of short-term rental homes there because of all the theme parks. So we really wanted to stand out, you know what I mean? And how can we, when you're looking at a house after house after house and they're all the same, how can we draw people's attention to our house and what can we do? So it was that creating unique experiences for people, and I always say it's very it's all encompassing when you stay in this house and you stay in these rooms, and you'll see what we mean. We converted our garage into like a commercial grade arcade, epoxy floor and industrial, like an air hockey game, but not a $200 Target or a Walmart air hockey game, like a commercial game from like a Dave and Buster's. Again, a basketball game and not a $200 basketball game, but a commercial grade basketball game that you would see in like an amusement park or an arcade. So really next level, so that when people are here, they really get into it and really enjoy the home.
That's awesome. So should I bring the pictures or should I keep people? All right. So here are some pictures. Why don't you tell us what this is so that we can understand what we're looking at?
So this is one of our bedrooms, obviously kid-oriented. In behind that spaceship, which you can kind of see, there's a ladder. So it's actually bunk beds. And the one thing people don't realize, when we were just there in January, we had the opportunity to go down and visit our house for 12 days, which was fantastic. We had some visitors that were in the area that knew us. So we said, come on in and look at the house. And what they didn't realize, because they had seen our house on social media and all that kind of stuff, they didn't realize that it's actually hand painted on that wall. So it's not murals, it's not, wallpaper and all that kind of stuff. That's hand painted. And I always say, if you understand the walls in Florida, is they have a texture to them, right? So I said it's so amazing how they can actually paint over this texture and be so lifelike.
Yeah, and it was important for us to have good, high quality graphics. Again, we want it to be immersive, and when somebody comes, we want to stand out. So again, it was important to have that quality artwork. That one, a bunk bed. Our house sleeps 16 people, so you could throw 2 or 4, not throw, but 2 or 4 kids can enjoy that bunk bed in that room. We'll look at a couple other pictures.
This is in the same room, so on a different wall. And we actually incorporated, this is a 3D axe. Like it's actually an axe, a plastic axe. But
oh, wow.
So we incorporated things projecting over the walls as well. We all know who this character is. And then there's actually blue lighting that goes on it as well. So I don't know if I have a picture or not of it, but it actually glows blue. There it is.
Yeah.
So of lighting effects as well in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. So just really, can you imagine coming in with, with a group of kids and them, this
wow.
is a room that they get to actually stay and sleep in. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's all lit up. The clouds on the ceiling light up. They flash. They blink. They're voice activated. So.
And this is one of our other rooms for the kids. This is actually a subway car, and it sleeps. It has 4 twin beds in it. So it's what kid wouldn't love that? So this is again all hand painted, and you can even see that it's almost 3D like on how well the artist did their job in painting, and it's the whole entire room that's painted for us.
Amazing. Let me bring Lauren in. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
We're looking at the homes, the home that Mike and Lee-Ann have in Orlando, and they're showing us that it's not just wallpaper on the wall like a lot of people think about.
A lot more than that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so that's what we chose. So we did 3 bedrooms that we themed out, and then it's a 6-bedroom. We left 3 just as regular rooms. It was important to us that it's great to go down, but not everybody wants to stay in a room with superheroes on it, or depending on who you're traveling.
No, not everybody. You sure?
Yeah.
Some people want adult time, maybe.
Yeah, and we just came back and we had 11 of us in the house, and we were there with parents, and they were fine with just staying in a regular room. Not everybody's looking for that, but and then again, the outside of the house, making sure has the screens in the lanai. When we looked for a property, we made sure there's lots of stuff little stuff you don't realize that going down the size of our deck. You'll see there's houses in the neighborhood, and some of them have a smaller deck and a smaller pool. We wanted to make sure big things that we can call out. We want to stand out is having a good sized pool, having the spa, having big deck area where you can put chairs. You can see in the corner
TV.
Yeah,
it's an outside TV.
Outside TV. So just all those things when you're looking at house after house that's available, you want to really stand out from the other houses that are available in the market.
I love it.
So I'll leave it with that. But yeah, that's a little snippet of what theming is and what you can offer in a house.
Yeah. And how does this affect kind of like your cash flow? What would you say if you didn't have a themed house versus having a themed house? How do you, obviously it makes you stand out, but how does that translate to, I guess, your occupancy rate or anything that you want to share with us, as opposed to just, obviously it's amazing and who doesn't want to stay there? But maybe you can talk to us a little bit about why you did this, maybe where the numbers are, or just kind of like your thoughts on that.
So again, for us, a short-term rental, it generates a good amount of cash flow for us, But by, putting in a little bit of extra of that investment, I don't know if I'd want to say it doubles our cash flow, but it significantly increases our cash flow that it's definitely worthwhile to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have, April will be a full year, but, we had a contractor come in and do a lot of that work. So really, we're looking at like September, will be a good, 1 year time frame to show what we generated in revenue. But we do know from looking at, the base prices of regular houses and the base price of where we are, there's a significant gap there. So after that 1 year, we'll have a really good feel. But I know already from the preliminary numbers, it's well worth it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you want to ask something? I want to give you the opportunity.
How's the champagne? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'll never live that down.
So that's an inside joke, so I guess we have to let them in on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
That's okay. So we had Lauren and Craig come to help us celebrate. We stayed in the house. We bought it. We closed like April 22nd, and the next week we came down with our kids to spend almost 10 days in the house. Mm-hmm. We invited Lauren to come and see us. We had supper together, and we saved a bottle of champagne. And when we were there, we were out front doing a little video, and I went popped the top, and it slipped out of my hand and hit the ground and sprayed all over Lauren. So she definitely got the champagne.
I did. I didn't get to drink it. I just had it all over me.
Yeah.
But that was another bonding experience, right?
That's right.
And Mike and Lee-Ann actually are perfect examples, really, of, the reality is, originally, I didn't set up their original structure. We just connected because we helped them with their purchase and with making decisions. And I think that they've become good friends, like many of my clients. And really, I think it's a true testament to the way that we both work together, because there was no financial incentive. It was just about really trying to help and make sure that they did the right thing, and they've done the right thing, and they have. And it's made a difference, because if they hadn't, they wouldn't be having the level of success that they have. And it's just, I hear way too many people that say, oh, I own it personally. I own it personally. I own it personally. Oh, it's okay. My accountant said, it's fine. Don't worry. No big deal. It's not fine. And you should worry. And yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, and it makes me cringe when people say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, I'll fix it later. I'll worry about it later. We don't want to worry about it later. We want to know that. And we built a successful real estate portfolio, first in Ontario, then in Michigan, now expanding into Florida, because we're, not to say that we're cautious, but we do the right thing every time. And, we make correct decisions, not just based on today, but based on, next month, next year, and in future years. We want to make sure we have a huge succession plan as well for our kids, that we want to, bring them in over time, as they get older, and include them into, the structure. So it's important for us to be, set up from the beginning. One bad investment, one mistake, could affect you for, 5, 10, or forever, right? If it's a drastic mistake in the U.S.
And I think it's us not having the idea of we have to keep up with the Joneses. So it's not that we have to keep up with other investors. We're making calculated decisions. Would we have loved to purchase another property? And we haven't, since we purchased Florida, but it's calculated. We wanted to make sure it was up and running. We wanted to make sure it was stable before we then purchased something else, to make sure that we could handle that in our portfolio. So we could have kept up with the Joneses and said, and started buying, but where would that have left us?
Yeah, that's a great point. Somebody's asking, actually, related to that, how many properties you started this theme rental property business. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Mm-hmm. So do you want to add anything? And we also have Jody and Adele. Sorry, I want to just acknowledge that they're here. I know Victoria's here. So if anybody has questions for Mike and Lee-Ann, we'll be here for another 15 minutes. And they're always very happy to answer anything. So just shoot them our way. Lauren, you're muted.
I was saying, and they're going to be part of our mastermind next week. So
yes.
like they were in our first mastermind in May. I think you had the most popular room, and that was before you had themed out your house.
Yeah, we were just working on it, and I think we had some preliminary drawings, but it's nice to be able to, to be able to show people what's possible. Again, too, we're I don't want to say we're everyday people, but I mean we've grown over the last few years quite a bit. We've invested in ourselves and built a strong team to help us to continue to grow. So we always encourage people to make sure you're dealing with the right people, and you're getting the right guidance. Again, I think we talked about that in the mastermind. How many people are watching, especially if they're Canadian, are watching the bigger pockets. We were just at a learning webinar last night, and we got talking. It was about like marketing and things like that on online, but people started to learn what we were there, and on breaks everybody's asking us all these questions, and that's what some guy said. He goes, "Oh, I watch Bigger Pockets and this and that." And I said, "But that's all U.S. based. That's for U.S. based people. You're a Canadian citizen. You need to have a different tax structure. In the U.S., yeah, everybody there is buying in an LLC, but you got to worry about the Canadian government.
Mm-hmm.
So the LLC is going to give you that liability protection, but at tax time, you're going to be doing all this for nothing. So just making sure that they're educated on the proper structure, and that's where having the right team comes in.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. I whenever we sit down on consults and people say, "Yeah, I already have my LLC all set up," we cringe and we're like, "No, you didn't do that." And obviously, we say, "Okay, we got to fix some things, and we can definitely help you." But that's so important. So thank you for mentioning that. And just for you guys to know, the mastermind is taking place on March 1st at 1 p.m. If you're on our email list, you'll be getting those emails starting tomorrow. But if anybody wants to sign up, you can do that. We'll put the link in the chat so that people can go and register. So we have a few more questions regarding to. We spoke a little bit about increasing the demand for the property versus having a classic or like a normal house. But people are always wondering how big does or how much bigger is this investment of in having a budget when it comes to theming homes. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So you want to go or you want me to?
So we, when we decided to theme, we kind of looked at, there are people in the market that theme the house from top to bottom. Every single room is a theme. That can become very, very, very expensive, and that's a huge budget. We looked at it as we didn't have that big of a budget for starters, but then we looked at it as if we did have that big of a budget, do we really want to theme the room from top to bottom? So if we were there with our young kids, would we want to stay in the themed room? Would we want to stay in an entirely themed house for a whole week or for a long stretch of time? And what we came to the conclusion is, no, I don't think we would. Like, that's not, and Lauren, you're the same, right? It's like my room is, I just want a nice room. I don't want some, superheroes hanging out with me at the time. So we looked at it as that how much are we attracting the market, but how much are we not attracting with having a top to bottom themed room? So something to think about with respect to the budget as well.
Yeah. And we, on this project, we were between 85 and 95,000, over and above the purchase price. But it's for us, real estate investing is, it's a long-term game. You know what I mean? You know what, we had to come up with that extra money, but we planned for that. And again, year after year after year, that money is going to come back to us, 2 or 3-fold. So.
And really, I mean, when you look at it, you can say between on average, 20 to 25 for a bedroom, 30 to 40 for a garage because of the equipment that you're bringing in. So that's kind of, I guess,
a good benchmark or a good budget.
Yeah, that's good with real numbers. I mean, because a lot of times it's not just about buying the property, but just seeing cash flow and seeing how much more do you need based on all of your expenses, in case one month you have an occupancy rate that is not at the average, and then you have to pay to kind of maintain the home. So it's not always a bad idea because you're still looking at it for the long term. So no matter what, at some point you're gonna pay off the house, and at some point that's gonna give you even that much more. And if we're looking at the houses, even in Orlando, what they're going for now and what they were going for 2 years ago, nobody knows what's gonna happen. Obviously, we can see a decline as well, but usually we see an increase. So that's also important to mention as well.
And the theming, if I can add to the theming,
yeah.
Adds that when there is, buying in Orlando, it's not always, 100% occupancy rate from, all year, 12 months, right? People go back to school in August in the States. So then things start slowing down a bit. So you see the rental market slow down a slight bit, and then you start picking up for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that kind of good stuff. But when you're themed, so when the occupancy isn't quite there, when you're themed, people, even if you have to dip your price a little bit, you're still standing out. So if you dip your price a little bit, do people want to be in a normal house, or woof, that's a neat themed house, I want to stay there instead. So there's little advantages too, even if you're not quite at where you want to be at a price point, you're still attracting. You're still always above there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Lauren, did you want to ask them something or say something? I know that you're muted.
I'm not muted now.
Oh.
So, okay, so what's next?
Oh, good question.
I didn't warn you about this one. Sorry. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a ghost.
A couple of things. Before we bought this, we've been looking at beach communities. We love to do like a beachfront, condo or in a beach city, whether it be, Myrtle Beach or, maybe in the Panhandle, like, Destin or somewhere like that, Panama Beach City.
Lots of great beach areas.
Lots of great beach areas. But also, we are considering actually doing something a little bit smaller though. This house is fantastic. We went to Florida 5 times last year. We've gone once already in 2023, and I'm trying to convince Lee-Ann to go again in the next little bit. But we're giving, when we do go, if it's vacant, it's available for us. If we do block it off, like when we went in January, we did block it off because that was planned with 12 different people. We are sacrificing, some rent. So we've been talking about what if we can find a 1 or 2 bedroom, a place that still cash flows, makes a little bit of sense, and then blend that into our portfolio, so that we can have a couple different. You have a large purchase generating large amounts of money. Maybe we can bring on a smaller property, 1 or 2, that as well, cash flow. But if we did want to use it, we do want to block it off. We're not giving up that huge amount of cash flow on the other side. That's the beauty of short-term rentals.
Just diversifying the portfolio, right? So if the, if it's not as, if the market kind of shifts a little bit and people aren't coming down with, 2 and 3 sets of families, and they're more being reserved because we're not sure what the borders are doing, we're not sure what all that kind of stuff is doing. You have a smaller unit that is still supporting, that one family can come into, and they're doing that. But if one family is coming into our 6-bedroom house, maybe they can or can't afford that. So it's kind of diversifying our portfolio.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we only have a little bit of time left, but I wanted to ask you, what would be your number one advice for investors looking to do short-term rentals in the U.S.?
Being set up properly. It's always, whether it's short-term, long-term, or any investment in the U.S., making sure you're set up properly at the beginning. But I think with a short-term rental, your liability, I assume your liability goes up. If there's 16 people in our house, week after week after week, 16 people coming and going, I think there's more potential for for us to be liable there. We have a pool out back. There's stairs. It's 2-story. Like, in my mind, there's a lot more liability risk there because of the amount of people that are coming and going through the house. Whereas on our long-term properties, somebody's in there, you have a tenant, they're responsible for yard maintenance, things like that. So I don't feel that there's as much liability there. So I really think if you're looking at the short-term rental side, you need to be set up properly, in my mind, because you have a huge risk there with that many people coming and going.
And also understanding that all markets aren't short-term friendly, or they're not short-term friendly, right? There are laws in place that they don't allow. So in the Orlando area, it's obviously that's quite common that there are certain pockets where short-term rentals are okay, but there are some pockets that absolutely not. So understanding before you buy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like Orlando proper. My understanding is that there's no short-term rentals. That's why we're in Davenport. We're in a community that it's designed to be a short-term rental community.
Yeah.
So
how far away are you from Disney?
Is it even 10 miles?
No, I don't think it's even 10 miles, but it's
awesome.
it's right there.
Right there. And then based on traffic, you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. If you're really lucky, you can make it in 10. But the I-4 can get kind of busy, so you're looking at 15 to 25 minutes.
That's great.
Yeah, we brought the girls to Universal and we lucked out. It was about a half hour. So.
Right, it's a little farther from the area.
Farther,
yeah. That's awesome. Well, we have 3 minutes left. Is there anything that you want to say that probably a question I should have asked you and I didn't ask you? Something that's important to mention before we go?
No, just educated, because we're real estate investors, we're mortgage agents ourselves. Always look at the opportunity of leveraging your properties. That's why we mentioned, this one, we wanted to make sure we were stable and, reached a certain cash flow before we continued on. But, we've turned, our primary residence back in 2017, we were taught, pay off your mortgage. And then, going through job transitions, all of a sudden have a job and, how do you make your mortgage payment? To re-educating ourselves and reinvesting ourselves and learning the power of leverage. We've turned our single family home into a portfolio of 11 doors now, in several $1 million of property from our primary residence, just by properly using that equity, making proper purchases. Once those properties stabilize, pulling equity out of those and continuing to grow and grow and grow. So we have eight buildings and 11 doors now that provide us a cash flowing income.
That's awesome. Mike and Lee-Ann, this has been an amazing conversation. Even for seasoned real estate investors, you're always so open about it. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you like so much. I want you to know. So thank you for being here. And for everybody else, remember we have a mastermind, and Mike and Lee-Ann are actually going to be there in our mastermind. They're going to have maybe a breakout session that we're talking about. They're always happy to help and always happy to give advice. So make sure you register. And if you haven't registered, it's go.investingacrossborders.net/mastermind. Remember to put the go before. We also put it in the chat. Yes, Lauren.
Mike, how's your studying going?
It's coming. It's so yeah, actually
I ask him the same question all the time.
She asked me, and actually that's I guess we can let the cat out of the bag. I've been able to get my U.S. Social Security number, so that's something I got it in January because of some of me and Lauren talked about it, and we were originally exploring E2 visas, and then this opportunity came up with my family ancestry and having my status card and being Indigenous in Canada, and with the J Treaty, and there was different things, and I talked about it with Lauren, and we talked about different options, and I was able to get my U.S. Social Security number as of I think it was the second week of January, and one of the first things I did was
I can look at the picture, but yes.
I called Lauren and was like, okay, I got it. Where am I getting my?
When do I start?
Yeah, where do I start? What do I do? And I mean, she's been a great ally and always always helpful. So I'm starting to get my Florida real estate license. That's something that's, again, just one more piece in the puzzle for us to put this all together. I don't know how active I'll be to start, but it's something that's there, and it's kind of one of those things that the opportunity is there to get it. If that possibility is there, and then it's one more tool in the tool belt.
I'll just throw something in there. So, having a real estate license, well, first of all, if you're in Ontario, it takes a year, and you have to go to a college course, and it's a total nightmare. And here in Florida, it's 63 hours. And then every 2 years, like for me, I have to do it this year at some point. I can't delay forever. And every 2 years, you have to do 40 hours, but it really takes you a lot less. I didn't say that out loud. Oh, shoot. I did. But it's a beautiful thing to have, because you not only can help yourself in terms of accessing MLS and listings and connecting with other realtors all over the country, but you also can potentially be a great referral agent, like me. That's what I am. I'm a referral agent. So I'm also the chair of the International Investment Committee for EXP Commercial, but I don't work with buyers and sellers directly. Like even Mike and Lee-Ann, I just referred them to somebody that I trusted. And that's what I do. And then I manage the process. So they can in turn refer clients to me and my team and earn a referral fee because they're licensed realtors, or Mike specifically. Now, most of you cannot access a social security number like Mike. He's an exception. If you have Indigenous background, do something about it. Get the note, get the card, whatever, because it's worth it. But if you don't, this is one of the biggest benefits of getting an E2. And actually, the visa holder cannot get you can get a real estate license, but you cannot represent buyers and sellers. The visa holder, the beneficiary for the E2, but the spouse can. And so a lot of people that are let's say you have your real estate license already in Ontario and you want to move to Florida or wherever in the US pretty much, you can choose the spouse that is the realtor to continue as the realtor down here, get their real estate license, and the other spouse is the actual visa beneficiary. So that happens with a lot of our clients. Actually, we have one that's just about to submit, I think tomorrow, and they're in this situation where the husband's a realtor from Ontario, and the wife is going to be the visa beneficiary because the husband wants to get his license. So it gives you an alternative stream of income as well, which is great while you're building your E2 business. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
And my real estate license in Ontario, well over $10,000. And
oh my God, I forgot about that part.
That's almost, you work at it, it's like
the price of the E2.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I got a Groupon code for my Florida real estate license, and it was like $68 or something.
Yeah. And also it got for dues and stuff like to TREB, Toronto Real Estate Board, or something like that. It's a small fortune, whereas here it's $38, I think, every 2 years to renew your license. Plus you pay the company probably another $68 for the course, and that's it. So it's $100 every 2 years, and that's it. So thank you for joining us. And we'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you all. This was awesome. We'll see you on March 1st for the mastermind. And thank you again for being so helpful and for answering all of our questions. It's always nice to see people like you who are always giving back. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.